All right.
All right.
Hoops.
Welcome to Husky Hoops. And I am one of your hosts, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me is always the next greatest influencer, the biggest YouTube channel in the state of New Jersey, and soon to be the state of Connecticut, the coach himself, David Schuman. Good
I
to
can't
see you.
pass the D'Amelios, so I won't be able the biggest in the Connecticut. More views, though.
We're
More
going to get you
views,
past the
Cully.
million.
Way more views. We looked it up, but not
Don't be pissing off
not
the-
as great followers.
Don't be pissing off the D'Amelios.
And of course,
What
the
are they gonna
man,
do? What are they going to do? Dance me to death?
the man on the bottom, the icon himself, the voice of the Huskies, the best of the best. And I'm in his top 20 favorite offensive linemen of all time. He's got the list. He wrote the list.
Oh, he wrote.
That's the pros pro right there. That's a pros pro.
You know whose name is
He
missing
did his
on this
homework.
list?
My name's missing from the
World's
list.
greatest podcaster.
The world's greatest podcasters missing from the list. The great Joe D'Ambrosio is here for Husky Hoops
That's great.
with his homework assignment intact, which I'm sure he was excited to do. And he had it completed within probably about 10 minutes.
I think it probably took about 8. I came up with a list. We'll get to that later.
I got to hear this list. I have to hear this list. I
We'll
mean,
get to that later.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's definitely more eventful than the blowouts that Uconn has put on teams.
You know what, Coach? You're very correct. You're very correct.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like I watched both, and then I watched the girls' game, and the girls,
Steve,
yeah,
they're called women now.
Women. Sorry, thank you.
They're called women now.
I'm not a misogynist. I apologize. They are the women's team. The women's team. It seemed like they would put Paige in, get a lead, take her out, and they would try to go with the other group. And they were missing shots. They didn't seem in sync as normal. And then Paige would come back in, get him a lead, and come back out. And she's working with a lot of new players. So it seems like the men's team, and I know they have new players as well, a new class, and they're playing a new group, but they seem to be gelling a little bit faster than the women. That was my only take.
Well,
I was going to say.
I would. I know you find this hard to believe, but
Yeah.
I would disagree with you.
Okay. Well,
they really struggled for about half the game against New Hampshire.
Yes.
They frankly didn't look like the third-ranked team in the country. It wasn't until from about the 14-minute mark to the rest of the game that they played like that team.
Right.
They've got some growing issues. Coach Hurley's got some decisions to make, none of which are going to come off the next 2 games against Lemoyne and East Texas A&M or whatever the hell they're called now. But
right.
That's why you play these games early in the year. You want to try to see things. And look, if you're paying top dollar to go see Lemoyne, such as life, you're also going to get the same seats when they play the Big East teams. So I think the men have some sorting out to do.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I had not been an avid men's basketball watcher recent, but I was just thoroughly impressed with Alex Caravan. He seems to me like he is really, really special in solo ball as well. But that kind of talent, like I was not expecting. Like I know it was against substandard competition, but Caravan looks like the real deal for sure. And he looks like he is going to be he already is one of the greats, but he is going to leave a legacy behind, because he is such a dynamic and explosive player that I have not seen in a while.
Yeah. I like Alex. I think
Yeah,
Alex is great.
yeah,
I wouldn't put him in that
category.
category thus far. He's got off to a great start. He's a kid who really benefited by making the right decision not to go into the
Not to
NBA.
go in.
He would have been a second-round pick, and he would have been a G League guy, just like Tristan Newton, just like Cam Spencer, just like
Yeah,
Adama Sanogo. It would have been
yeah,
that guy. It would have been a G League guy this year. He's come back. And again, it's 2 games. It's a very small sample size,
sure.
but he's refined parts of his game. He's always been a great defender, and he's always
Yes.
been a better than average rebounder. Where he's
Yeah.
improved is on his catch and shoot threes, on his ability to take the ball to the hoop. He's headed towards a terrific senior season. Now, how that continues, only time's going to tell. But I also think what will help him is if the supporting cast plays up
Around
to
him.
their expectations.
Right,
Now,
right.
the freshman kid,
Liam, yeah.
McNeely, has been great. First kid since Courtney Thompson in 1976 to record 2 straight double-doubles in his first 2 games at Uconn. He's more than just a shooter. He's proven
Wow.
it. Again, we have to take this all with a grain of salt.
Of course, because
it was Sacred Heart and it was New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, correct.
But he looks like the real deal. Ball has been. I expected Ball to be the most improved player on the team this year. He may not be. That may be Jaden Ross. Jaden Ross played terrific,
unbelievable,
in his debut against New Hampshire.
Yep.
And talking to people around the program, they think Ross could be as good, if not better, than Ball, which is saying a lot.
Wow.
And he could play. He could play the 2 or the 3, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep. Yep. Ask him, Ball.
Right.
The good thing about this team, Dave, is their versatility. There's a point, I think, where Coach Hurley wants to play 5 guys and not identify them as 2, 3, 4, and he'll get to that, I would think, because him and Luke Murray are so good at designing offenses. But it hasn't been all flowers and
rainbows and sunshine. I got you.
The transfer, Mahaney, has not played well.
Right.
In 2 games.
Right.
At the end of the day, they may decide that Hassan Diarra is their best bet at the point guard and bring Mahaney off the bench.
Was Mahaney the Princeton guy?
No. What Princeton guy?
The St. Mary guy?
Yeah, Princeton.
That's what it was.
You talking hockey?
No, maybe I'm thinking of the girls team. I thought the girls had a Princeton.
Exactly what you're thinking, Steve. But you're thinking. And that's what we like that. We like what you're thinking. The other thing, and I have said this from the beginning, with no disrespect meant to the young man, I've got to see Samson Johnson step up.
Yeah.
And he, against New Hampshire, and he also did this in the opener, too quick with foul trouble. Can't do that. He's got to stay on the floor. Now, Reed has played well.
Reed's played very well.
By the end of the year, or by the conference season, maybe Reed's the starter. Maybe they determine that Reed is better as a starter and Sampson's better coming off the bench to provide energy.
Like a shot blocker. Just more physical
of the game, Dave. Right. Exactly.
I think Hurley likes that center as his starter with that physicality, that it seems like each year, the last 2 years, obviously, like that guy has become the guy that he really likes to have there, not just from a rebound standpoint, but you're a little more afraid to go in and drive, whereas Sampson he's a great shot blocker, could jump out the gym, but he's not physical. He's just
No.
not, and he fouls because he's not physical.
He's a different center style-wise. You're absolutely right, Dave. He's a different style center than Sonogo and Klingon were.
Right.
Totally different. They were physical. They could muscle you. Johnson can out-quick any center. He's quick off his feet, which sometimes is a detriment because he gets up in the air too soon, and the only place to come down is on the back of the opposing player.
Right.
So that's something that and he'll get better throughout the year. But the Reed kid has played pretty well. And it'll be interesting to see his development over the next couple of games. Again, we've talked about this since the beginning, boys. The real test is going to come when they go to Maui. Memphis isn't awesome, but they're not bad. They're not going to be scared of Uconn. Put it that way. When they get to Maui, they're not going to play anybody who's going to quake in their boots and play in the almighty Uconn.
And Reed looks like all of 270 pounds. Like he's a big boy there. He's physical.
He's hefty, which is good. You got a combo of one guy who's beefy and one guy who's lean and lanky. And that's, you can show him different styles and stuff.
Yeah, it seems like it's his formula. He likes. It reminds me a lot of the European style, like where guys are interchangeable parts, maybe other than the center, and like all the guys can kind of handle the ball a little bit. Right. They can all pass. They could, almost all of them could shoot. You know what I mean, reasonably well. They could all kind of get to the basket. They have different styles of doing it.
Yep.
But they could all get to the basket.
Well, that's what I was mentioning. That's the positionless five,
right?
Minus the center that they'd like to play. Now you can't do that against Creighton because of Kalkbrenner.
Right.
Seton Hall's got a couple of big kids up front. You can't do that against everybody, but there are certainly a lot of teams that if you want to play that way, you can, and that would be intriguing.
Now, Joe, I just wanted to ask, and I'm sure I'm wrong on this, but it seems like in the college game, teams have gotten away from the traditional big man centers. I know we have them at Uconn, but a lot of teams like to have smaller groups that can run and get up and down in court and play fast, have more possessions, score faster, play better defense. It doesn't seem like there's that traditional half-court offense as much anymore.
There's not. I think what you mean, Steve, I think what's happened is the role of the center is played, just like it has in the NBA. You find very few back-to-the-basket centers in the NBA anymore. You've got Embiid. You've got Zach Ivey, who's playing really well for Memphis. You've got Klingon. But you got a lot of centers in the NBA now. Karl Anthony Towns, Nikola Jokic, Jaren Jackson in Memphis, certainly the Warriors, the Lakers with Anthony Davis.
Yeah, that's true.
You've got a lot of centers in the NBA who are more versatile as far as stepping out and shooting the ball is concerned.
Are they asked to do that, or is that just a skill set that they've developed on their own, or is that what they want them to do? Okay.
I think it's a little both. I think the guys who come into the league with that skill get playing time earlier. Guys try to expand their game. Adama, his senior year, tried to expand his game to a 3-point shooter. Donovan took about 3 3-pointers last year, and Hurley said that's enough.
He said that's it.
But yeah, I think you can develop that part of your game, but I think it's better if you come in and that's what you're known for,
Right.
And I think we're starting to see that in the college game, that teams are going to more, 5-out, no traditional back to the basket center.
Although I do
Right.
think when you had like what Purdue showed and what UConn showed last year in trying to win a national championship, I'm not talking about the regular season, but in trying to win a national championship, that dominant physical center has a lot of value when you start to get into the tournament play. It may not have as much value in the regular season, but that physicality is you have to go through 6 games to get to the champ. Is it 6 games to get to the
6
championship?
games to win the
Yeah,
championship.
it's 6. Yeah.
When you have to go through that, to get to the championship, a guy who's physical, as you keep working your way through the bracket, that guy who can lean on you over and over again, I think, gives teams a unique tool that, because the game has changed a lot, a unique tool that they're not used to playing against all the time. They're just not used to playing against it, and it's tough. And when you got to do it, all of a sudden you play the last game, a team was shooting threes all game long, and now a team's in there banging it in there, and guys are trying to jump over you. It's a different style, which can be which I think helps UConn.
Well, yes and no. I would agree to a point, Dave, except that, as we said, there's a lot of teams that don't play that traditional back to the basket center. And if you've got a big guy and he's out on an island playing against the guy who can drive and dish, then you don't have that presence in the middle.
Right.
And your center in those circumstances is much more prone, I think, to getting into foul trouble. So
for sure,
I think it would work. I think it works on the offensive end to have the big banger better than the defensive end if the opposing team is not a team that plays a traditional center, that plays kind of that 5-out style that's become.
How does he play them defensively? If you do have that center, like, are they doing like a version of like a wider 2-3 where they're really like expanding the two like wings out more? If you have that big man and then you're trying to get rebounds off of it with your big man, and you're trying to move basically when the ball moves, is that how they play it? Or
most teams play man to man now. There's
man to man, right?
There's very little zone. There's very little zone that's played now. I mean, other obviously than Syracuse, and even they, now that Coach Boeheim is gone, don't play 2-3 all the time.
Right.
I think a lot of teams go zone if they've got guys in foul trouble, because it's a good way to protect them. And a lot of teams will go zone for 1 or 2 possessions to switch things up.
Just find out. Aren't you still cutting a lot, right? Everything's pass and cut.
Well,
out, right?
Yeah, you are, but you also have guys in when you play 5-out who have the capability of taking the 15, 18-footer.
Right.
Joe, I wanted to just get your thoughts on the other freshman.
Hold on a minute. I've decided something here. I've decided every few minutes I'm going to read a few of these names. Let's start with Ryan Krug, Brian Markowski.
Is that 20? Is that 2019 or?
Oh no, this is later. Billy Irwin, Tyler King, and Grant Preston. Those are 5.
Tyler King, really? No, Tyler King can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I could at least do that. I didn't fall on the ground that much.
This is not just skill. This is people I enjoyed interacting with.
That you enjoyed interacting with.
Right.
Well,
so
that's true.
Well, you're off the list.
All right. So what were you? Go ahead, Steve.
The other freshman, the Isaiah Abraham. What were your thoughts on him? Because he didn't play a ton of minutes.
It's tough because he's not playing in stressful situations. I think both him and Ahmad Noel will be guys who are going to be eventually will be players.
Right.
Just maybe not now. Just now they may be break glass in case of emergency.
Right. And he'll develop them, and they'll get better as they go on. They're not guys that are going to be.
Because let's look at this for a minute. You've got obviously the 5 who've started the games have been Caravan, Mahaney,
Yep.
Neely, Solo, and Sampson, right? So that's 5.
Samson. Yeah.
Then you've got Jalen Stewart's playing about 14 minutes a game.
Yep.
Reed's playing about 21. Diarra's playing 19. And Jaden Ross played 22 against New Hampshire. That doesn't leave a lot of time for Noel and Abraham.
Right. So he'll focus on developing them, and they'll get better as the years go on.
I have no doubt. Yeah. I have no doubt. And there may be a situation where he gets pissed off enough at guys that he sticks the 2 freshmen in and says, "Here, go play."
Yeah. See what you can do. Right. Yeah, for sure. And out of the competition, was New Hampshire the better team than Sacred Heart?
It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah, that doesn't really matter. I was just curious because of it. And I know Lemoyne is Division II. They're traditionally okay. I've never even heard of East Texas A&M.
I believe that's the old Texas A&M Commerce, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not sure. And Lemoyne's not Division II anymore. They're
not.
No. They've UConn would not. Trust me, UConn would never play a Division II team in the regular season.
Oh, because I remember Syracuse used to, but that must have been an exhibition.
That was always that's always because it was a regional game for them.
Right, because it's right next door. Okay, so Lemoyne, I didn't know that.
Yep.
How long has Lemoyne been Division I or transitioning?
I believe a couple of years.
Oh, wow. Because they were always a very good Division II school.
In every sport.
Yeah.
In every sport.
And they're small. I'm actually banned from the Lemoyne campus, just so you know.
Why? I figure why.
I drove a car through the fence that was around the gated campus.
So why would you do that? What would be the impetus?
What was the impetus behind that?
Did it have anything to do with alcohol?
Well, mildly, it could have had something to do with alcohol, but it just could have had to do with, I had a little bit of ego and a confidence that I was a big man at Lemoyne. They had a lot of smaller, nerdy kids. And
wait a minute, when did you go to Lemoyne?
Oh, I would visit there. One of my best friends from high school went there, so I would go visit him. He played on the basketball team, so I went and I watched him play, and then I would stay over.
Let me get this. So you just, and Coach, back me up on this, will you? So you would just go to campus to visit your friend and think because you were Mr. Big Deal Uconn football number 73 that 79 that you could. I was thinking of my favorite guy, Krug.
Yes, your favorite guy, Krug.
That you could walk in there and be Mr. Big.
Yes, they're
and Providence. Moron.
And Providence College too. Providence College.
Moron.
Providence.
What's wrong with you?
There's a lot wrong with me.
Well,
Providence College as well. Providence College. A quick story. My roommate in college was Mike Woodward, who was a walk-on, and Emeka
basketball.
Yeah, Emeka Okafor. He would come over to our apartment because it was quiet. It wasn't really quiet, but it was quiet for him. And he would do his homework and he would do his laundry. And I don't know how it happened. One time, he's like, he wanted to come on a road trip with us because one of my other friends went to Providence. We took him to Providence, and he was gawked at. He was the star. He was trying to get people not to take pictures of him. We took him out to the bar, and people were booing him when he walked in. I took the microphone from the DJ and I said, "Do you know who this is? This is Emeka Okafor. He's He's going to make more money in one day than everyone in this bar will combine their entire lives. You show him respect. He's the best player in the country.
And you wonder why people from Providence hate Uconn.
And they, the owners of the bar loved it, but they said, listen, listen, you guys might want to hang out after because I think there's going to be people waiting for you. So they closed the bar down and they kept us there until like 3:30 and let us hang out and have a few cocktails while things cooled down so we could leave safely. But yeah, I almost started a riot in Providence.
I never liked Providence myself.
I loved Providence.
I didn't like it because I always felt like there was always about to be something that was going to go down. And
go down. There's no football team there. There's no tough kids there.
I don't mean that. I mean at the bars and the clubs there.
Oh, yes.
So we were always like, it was always something that would happen. Always. Same thing if you went up to, although I never went, but guys would go up to UMass.
Yes.
I could go up to UMass. It's only like, I mean, I enjoyed a good scrap like everybody else, but like I just think that was just inviting one because you go to someone who you knew that played ball at UMass, you were friendly with. But
right.
The other guys were not happy that you were there.
No.
So you might be friends with this guy, like I was from Jersey, obviously, and there were guys I knew from Jersey that I played in the same conference with against.
Yeah.
They were cool with it, but the other guys weren't cool with it from UMass. So that was always.
Joe, do you remember backup offensive lineman named Ed and J. Chuck? No, I know. I'm just checking to see if you remembered Ed and J. Chuck.
No.
He was a backup. He was a roommate of mine. We went to a Uconn UMass basketball game, and we tailgated in a parking lot. And it was December. It was cold. We bought a small grill and we were cooking hot dogs, and everyone thought we were nuts. The cops walked by. They're like, "What are you doing?" We're like, "Oh, we're just tailgating." They're like, "Wow, you like that's fine. It's just we've never seen this before." I'm like, "Well, that's the creativity I have. As I'm coming to UMass to watch a basketball game, I'm gonna enjoy it." But I love going to those games, and it's too bad they don't play anymore. Those are always fun games to go to. Yep. That was a big rivalry.
Will Beatty.
Okay.
Mo Petrus.
Really?
Donald Thomas.
Okay, you're naming guys who were better than me. I'll admit that. But personality, entertainment value, and humor wise, I don't see it. I mean, that's
why it's a subjective list.
It's subjective. Okay. But I think the entertainment value that I bring to the table trumps everything. I mean, you can't top it. Right. That's what I would say. But I was also looking at this. Liam McNeely, he obviously is the real deal. Is he somebody that could leave after 2 years? Is he someone who isn't going to be around long term?
He could leave after one.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, after watching him play.
One. I mean, now, this is supposedly a loaded draft class led by Mr. Flagg.
Right.
But if you're McNeely, he could be Steph Castle. He could see that he's a lottery pick and transition right to the NBA. It all depends. I mean, we're trying to make assumptions on kids games into a 34-game season or 30-game season. Not counting postseason play when you can
just with his skill set. I mean,
he's terrific, and he's got no fear.
Yeah, I mean, he's good from the 3-point line. He makes his free throws. He rebounds. He plays defense. I didn't have those expectations. I knew he was one of the best players in the country, but like he really stepped up and made a big difference.
Look, you can be one of the best players in the country and come into a situation and totally freeze.
Of course.
He's done just the opposite of that.
Right.
I think he looks like a kid who thrives on the competition.
Right. And I'm sure he played on one of the top AAU programs and played against the top competition in high school, which obviously makes a big difference when you get to this level, that you've already seen it and you can make the transition a lot easier.
Right.
Would you agree with that, Dave?
Oh,
like
absolutely.
playing against a better competition. I mean,
yeah. I think the good players always play better against better competition.
Right. And the AAU tournaments now, I mean, they go national. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
So,
you know what? Let me tell you this. To me, and this is 71-year-old get off my lawn. The sport was in better shape when college coaches dealt with high school coaches rather than some of these AAU merchants of opportunity.
That cat's been out of the bag forever.
Right.
Yeah, AAU is.
Now there's some, there's some that are very organized. You listen to Brian Scalabrine on Sirius NBA Radio in the morning, the ex-Celtic who does TV. He's very involved in AAU basketball, but not everybody's like Scal.
Right.
Okay? Not everybody's like Scal. And it's not just now. The coaches don't just have to deal with the AAU. The college coaches just don't have to deal with the AAU coaches. They have to deal with these kids' advisors.
Oh, I know.
People who are in their ear. I mean, the high school coach and the parent coach and the parents are in some cases in the rear, far back in the rearview mirror. Far back.
It depends on their background and yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of facts to that. And AAU, there's so many teams and so many levels that there's all kinds of like angling that continues to go on. And you're right, there's some guys that are decent guys or gals running it, and then you get people and you're like, my goodness, like who would even send their kid to play for these people? So it's crazy, but it's constant. Everybody in AAU is working to steal players from a different person, right? So there's no relationship. I mean, there are cases where they're guys at the same group for a long time. Obviously, there's a relationship there. But in cases where people are moving to a new organization all the time, there's very little relationship. Unlike when you're with your high school coach, you're with that person for 4 years. You know what I mean? And they may even know you when you were in middle school. So AAU is a wild world. I just see it because my son plays it and he's young. And didn't
it used to only be in the summer too, and now they go through the fall?
It's all year now. It's all year.
Yeah, it's all year. You mean all year, like during the season too, during the winter?
Yes.
Wow.
Not as heavily in high school season, but there are guys that play with their club it may be loosely, but if they're playing on a Saturday, guys will go play on a Sunday with their club. It's not the competition level that they're playing when they go into spring, because there's not as many teams that are doing stuff. But some guys are playing. Yeah, some guys are playing. And they're certainly playing year round, obviously. They're playing summer with their club. They're playing fall with their club. They're playing spring is the big, obviously, AAU season where they go to all the big tournaments. But they're playing round the clock. I mean, it's wild. It's shocking when you see it.
No, I was surprised to hear about it. I was surprised that they played year round. I had no idea about it's big business.
As Dave said, it's not as prevalent while the high school season's going on.
Correct.
Because the high schools do have rules about that.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah. A lot of the federations, like I don't think in Connecticut, I may be wrong, but I don't think in Connecticut you can be playing high school ball and AAU ball at the same
It's
time.
at the same
I think
time.
in New
I got
Jersey
you.
you can. I think it's some of the places. So it's weird because it's weird. Now most of them don't. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. I actually think that it's more of the lower level kids that are, to be honest, not the
Right.
higher level. Like for example, you'll see a kid that's playing like that might be a good player that's a freshman, but he's not on varsity yet, right? And he may be playing, but you're right. It is there are states that completely outlaw all of that kind of stuff, but it is hard to police it. Like New Jersey's become like I'm not gonna say it's a free for all state because it's not like Florida is and some of the other states that are like that. But there's a lot of pressure to let kids do what coaches have thrown their hands up for the most part outside of their season.
Right.
In season, they're gonna lay down but outside of it, I mean, they throw their hands up like.
And a lot of the high school coaches don't coach the AAU teams. They're not part of it.
No.
They do.
Okay.
They coach.
Some do.
Some do.
But in
In
some
Jersey,
places,
they do. It's weird.
But see, but in some places, you can't. That's regarded as illegal contact.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Connecticut has to be that. That has to be the rule in Connecticut. I'm assuming Connecticut's very, very hard with the rules. New Jersey, there is a rule. You can run the team. Okay, if I was a high school basketball coach and I'm the head coach XYZ school, I could be in charge of the team, but not quote unquote coaching my own kids.
Right, you could be like the general manager.
Correct. So that's how you
Right.
kind of get around it. So are people showing up to your practices as a general manager? No. Are they is someone going to be possibly at your games if you go and actually are coaching at a game? Yes, that could be a game. But the truth is no one polices it. I mean, I'm just like there are people that are big names in coaching in New Jersey, big names that are GMs, but they're coaching their teams. You know what I mean? And they're coaching those teams, and they have teams from kids from different schools, not just their school. But their star player from their school will be on that club. I mean,
Joe, I wanted to ask you going into Maui. Okay, they're definitely playing Memphis. Are they definitely playing Michigan State? And then they'll get one more game after that on the 27th on that Wednesday.
hello.
Oh, I was just curious. We may have lost him for a second.
He's there, isn't he?
No, I don't think he's there. But no, I was looking at it.
He's frozen. He's frozen in time. Is that?
Yeah, he's frozen in time. He must have lost service. His internet. No, because I was looking at it and it seemed like
Oh yeah, he just disappeared. Okay, he'll come back. He'll be right back.
they'll play Memphis. Memphis, Michigan State, and then it'll be a final. So that's why I think he had mentioned
You
North
mean in
Carolina.
Hawaii,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the Maui Invitational that would determine it. So that's why I was curious of how it would play out because up until then, they got Lemoyne, they have East Texas A&M, and then it's going to be Memphis, Michigan State, and then whoever makes the finals. And then on the 30th, they play, I believe, is it UMass? It can't be. UMES. I have no idea what that is. UMES. I'm clicking on it right now. Oh, the University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
Eastern Shore. Yeah, their division. Yeah, Maryland Eastern Shore.
Okay. Are they? Yeah, they can't be that powerful.
They're usually decent in their conference, but I mean, listen, until they get to Baylor,
Right. No, that's going to be the test. That's going to be
Gonzaga, yeah,
that's going to be the test.
I guess Texas is probably pretty good too. They were good the last couple of years.
Because I saw the women play, and they're going to have North Carolina. They're going to be playing South Carolina. I mean, they got a really difficult out of conference schedule, and if they don't get going with some of those freshmen, I think they're gonna have some trouble because Paige was in there. Paige was being aggressive. She was doing her thing, but he's back now.
Yep,
Sorry about that, boys.
No, I just wanted to ask you quick about the Maui Invitational. They're definitely playing Memphis for sure. And then is it Michigan State? And then they'll get a third game on the 27th?
Close. Very good, Steve. You're getting better. They'll play either Michigan State or Colorado on the 26th, depending on who wins and who loses. And then the 27th is Dayton or North Carolina, or I think Auburn, or a couple other teams in there. So
okay, so they are guaranteed 3 games. They are guaranteed 3 games.
Yeah,
okay. And that'll be the real test to kind of see where they're at. You think with that
that'll be the first test. Then they come home and they play Maryland Eastern Shore, and then they have Baylor at Gampel, and then Texas and Gonzaga before they get into Big East play. So, this is, we talked about this last week without calling it so. For the Power 5 schools, this is kind of like the exhibition season.
Exactly.
And then once you get to Maui, it's pretty much all hands on deck.
Right. And then after that is when you're going to start to see the real competition when they get into more of the conference play. And I was asking Dave about they're playing that University of Maryland on the 30th.
Maryland Eastern Shores.
Yes. Are they talented? Are they any good?
I don't think so. No,
I didn't think so either.
No, I think that's traditional. Some school now that's 3 days after they play on the Wednesday in Maui, and coaches have different philosophies coming back from Maui. Some just want to wait a while. Some want to get back on the horse on the mainland right away. Obviously, Dan Hurley wants to do that. No, I don't think Maryland Eastern Shore 99% of the time provides a big battle. Plus, it's also a tune-up before you play Baylor.
Right. And that's going to be the big one.
That Baylor, Texas, Gonzaga trio.
Right. And Gonzaga is no joke. Baylor, Texas, that's going to be murderer's row right there facing those 3 teams before getting into conference play.
Yeah, right.
That'll really show. But yeah, I mean, for the first game that I watched in a while since last year, I was thoroughly impressed with Caravan. Like I do think, as you said, he's not the top tier yet, but he could get there. Like he really seemed.
Oh, he's not far behind. I mean, he's an All-American.
Yeah, he was. He was something special.
I love Caravan's game. I think he's terrific. I don't think he gets mentioned with the top 2 or 3 guys in the nation.
Right.
But he's right on the cusp.
Right. Yeah, and McNeely, I think, was just such a tremendous addition, and with his versatility and being able to rebound, being able to block shots, being able to shoot threes, like having that all-around game is so important. And it's just amazing that you're seeing that more and more from bigger guys, a guy who's 6'7", 6'8", who can do that. And that's what they look for.
Well, because he knows at 6'7", if he wants to play at the next level, he's got to be able to do a little bit of everything.
Right. Because he's kind of in the middle there. Like he's going to be a forward. He's going to be a small forward. He's not going to be
a guard.
Shooting, yeah, he could be a 2. Right. No, I totally agree. But it was great to watch those games. It was great to see them in action, and it's going to be exciting to see this season go on because they are really talented, and I think they're deep. I think they at least have 8 guys, 9 guys they can play. Do you think they can go 8, 9 deep, Joe?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's the plan. I mean, 10 and 11 are Noel and Abraham, but
Right.
you go the starting 5, and then you go Diarra, who I think eventually will be back in the starting 5. Reed, Stewart, and Ross. That's 9 deep.
Right. No, I got you. David, unfortunately, I got to jump off for a second.
Okay.
I just wanted to get a couple more names from Joe. He can throw
Yeah.
another few names at me. Who else
Dan
he's got?
Hicks,
Dan.
Zach Hurd, Ryan Vandermark, Brian Keating, Ryan Crozier, Andres Canapi, the Ryans, Mike and Dan, Martin Bedard.
So I'm behind all. I'm behind all of them. Wow. Okay.
I would say behind.
Can I raise my profile on the show? Will the show help me raise my profile?
You're only lowering it.
Only lowering it.
You're only lowering it.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Joe just entertains me supremely. It's great.
Joe, always a pleasure.
All right,
I will talk to you guys later.
All
Bye.
right.
All right. All right, Joe.